Hello, I'm Marcus V. Calvert, and welcome to Tales Unlimited. Today's battery prompt is number 72. A dead superhero's butler publishes an expose of his days running the lair. Alright. Staying on prompt for this to work. Alright, there had to have been, a wealthy superhero. Managed to keep a secret identity in today's era. Not easy. Assume he's got technology, resources, the ability to cover his tracks, and that he died. And that he didn't just die, but he got unmasked at some point. Say, while he was saving the day, at some point his luck ran out, but he managed to win, and some villain got lucky and took him out. And here are the two factors this story needs. One, he's dead. Deader than Julius Caesar, got unmasked, right? And two, whoever did it got away. No one's claimed credit for it because all the heroes around liked this guy. And this wasn't like Batman, some dude in a costume with resources, even though Batman's cool. No, this was a genuine superhero with superpowers who saved the world and sometimes did it by himself. We're talking somebody with juice got killed. That's an impact. That's a ripple. That's a city. It's like a wound. And people stepped in to try to help and do their thing, but nobody had his panache. Nobody had his effect. And, the government comes in and they take the lair down. They, confiscate things for national security, gather intel. They share what they have with other superhero groups. Some outstanding cases actually got solved because he died, because people found out things that he was sitting on and should have shared. But no one expected the butler to do an expose, to go on a book tour, to talk up his boss incessantly. He talked up his boss so much there's a movie deal going on, right? And so the butler is making money hand over fist. He has this nice little estate, like he bought from the IRS. It seems like he's over lavishly expending his money, but in reality he's just a shrewd and savvy bastard. He knew everybody the old boss knew. He had like a thick Rolodex of connections, and he uses it. And he basically had a lot of money left to him for when, if something like this happened. He had shares in the company. I mean, technically, the butler didn't have to do an expose. He was already rich. And what he wanted the world to know, when he put this out there, is that his master was exceptional in every possible way. Normally, when you have someone with money, someone with privilege, they do some things that are not acceptable. They have, their scandalous sides. Not him. He was the best of us. And he basically just drove that point home over and over. He was the best of us. Might even be the name of the book. And the butler has no real security. Now, the killer gets away with it. The killer did it to earn his bones, or her bones, or its bones. Maybe it was the killer got in the way. I mean, the hero got in the way of something. I don't know what the reason was. But at some point, he just gets so sick and tired of this butler, son of a bitch, basically calling the guy who killed his master a coward for never taking credit for it, that he basically pays this butler a visit. In the middle of the night, just crashes into his estate, takes out the dogs, takes out like one or two guards, like uniform security goofs. I mean, he's got security, but it's not impressive. And he breaks into the dude's room. He's like, hello. And Butler's like, who are you? What are you doing here? And, he's just kicking back in his pajamas, sipping like hot cocoa and reading a book when this dude breaks into his room. He's like, I'm the guy who killed your boss, and now I'm going to kill you. And the butler cocks his head like, you killed Master blah, blah, blah? Yes, I did. He'd step all over you. You're a joke. You're nothing. Prove it. I don't have to prove jack. I'm just here to waste you. Try. As the butler's eyes begin to glow. As it turns out, the butler taught the hero everything he knew because the butler was a hardcore psychic, a telepath who can get into your head and your head and your head and your head, anybody's head, copy their skills and pass them on. Rather than having, years and years and years of training and prep, when his master's powers manifested, he used them to make a buck. Actually, I would say the butler found Master blah, 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 made him rich, and said, look, I am a retiring superhero. I will teach you everything I know. The only price is you look after my city now. I'm hanging up my spurs. Everyone forgot him. As a matter of fact, everyone thought there were 5 of him, like there was a team running around protecting the city, and they all died in the same night. In reality, you had a psychic manipulating memories, fighting crime. And he was getting old, he was getting tired, so he finds someone to be a successor, trains him, and then he watches his successor get killed, and it's pissing him off. So now this guy's like, wait a minute, he's explaining all this psychically. He's like, wait a minute, you were the blah, 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 the 5 blah, blah, blahs? Yes, that was me. So what now? Because, the dude gets his butt kicked quick. Telekinesis, a little pyrokinesis. Literally, he's hitting him the way a team of 5 psychics would. Like, please don't kill me. Oh, no, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to kill you at all. Master blah, blah, blah. That's how I do it. He loses his successor, finds the killer, breaks the killer, turns the killer into a successor, and says no one knew he did it. It's like the perfect crime. This person steps in and replaces in very similar fashion. But the butler can never work for him again. That's the downside, because he's just too famous. He did all of that to lure him out. He didn't think he'd have to burn himself this way, but he did. Okay, I'm Marcus V. Calvert. This is Tales Unlimited, and this is one way to do the prompt. How would you do it? Anyhow, check out talesunlimited.net. That's where the podcast links are, 2 of them. There is the Batchery Daily Prompt and a Disturbing Thought of the Day. Both go daily. And then there are the book links. Think hit 1 to a book, it goes to Amazon. There are print and ebooks available. What are these books, you might ask? Well, there is the Batchery series. 200 writing prompts, a little wisdom on how to write that first novel for a struggling novelist who's trying to, or maybe has lost way too many years trying to get a book done. Well, 200 prompts, a system on how to finish the book. You go all the way through it, you will have books to sell, a business to start, maybe a fan base to build while you're working on your first novel. On top of that, there are uses for any level of storyteller, from an evil GM, short story writer, game designer, screenwriter, comic book writer, or even a grizzled novelist who's written 20 books, but 200 writing prompts, and they're not normal writing prompts. A novelist could take one of these and just go hog wild with one, make an award-winning series. Be my guest. Then there are anthologies, 2 of them. Think New School Twilight Zone, 25 stories in each book. The themes are Unheroic is about unlikely heroes saving the day, like, what if a part-time drug mule is the hero of this story only because he runs into the love of his life, who's just about to head into a horror movie cliche, and no one else is going to save her but him. And he's only doing it for that booty. Oh, and he's in love, but really, it's the booty. So for a booty call. Yeah. And then there is the Book of Schemes. Twisted schemes, silly schemes, diabolical schemes, all over schemes. Like, for example, what if in the future hiring people to kill other people isn't so illegal as long as you cover your tracks? And there's a guy who's literally a death vendor. He has a briefcase, suit and tie, who's going to arguably the biggest contract killing signing meeting of his life. And all he has to do is get up there, not die, hustle the deal, get it signed, and not die on the way out. That's how dark this future is. And then there is the novel series. Think Sin City with Superpowers. It's called I, Villain. And it's told from the perspective of Benjamin Clyde, gentleman fixer, dude in a suit. Pay this guy enough money and his team of mercenaries will solve your problems. He has over 400 of them scattered throughout the world doing multiple jobs. And he just runs it like a general. And as far as everyone knows, he's just a guy in a suit with a phone. They don't know about his black ops past or the powers he doesn't really use anymore. What they know is his reputation for results. Until one night, a deal goes bad and he's forced to fire all of his people, give up his right to be a crook, and all of his cash. Worse, in this town called Pillar City that's worse than Gotham, he must personally fight crime every night for the rest of his life. They think milk cartons will last longer than this guy. Instead, he not only works well on his own, he thrives. He starts saving the world every so often. When he does, he realizes there's a market for this, because if you have the resources to play around with the fate of the world, then you're worth getting killed and robbed. Yeah, that's what he does to you. And instead of sending you to jail, he sends you into a shallow grave or a wood chipper or whatever happens to be available for body disposal, and takes whatever's not on fire. Okay, I'm Marcus V. Calvert. This is Tales Unlimited. I'll see you tomorrow.